All right, Harry. Jesus mentions about Naaman the Syrian in Luke chapter 4, verse 27. It was a person who had leprosy in the time of Elisha the prophet. We're going to read it. It's in 2 Kings chapter 5. Let me go ahead and read verse 1. Now Naaman was commander of the army of the king of Aram. He was a great man in the sight of his master and highly regarded because through him the Lord had given victory to Aram. He was a valiant soldier, but he had leprosy.
Yeah, the story here of Naaman the Syrian, as mentioned by Jesus, was a commander in the army of Syria. Syria was the enemy of Israel. Naaman has a problem, a very serious problem. He has leprosy. Leprosy is a very serious sickness, no cure at all back then. Leprosy doesn't care if you're rich or poor. Leprosy kills you slowly from the outside, like a cancer. First, you lose your skin feelings as the disease ravages away, losing fingers and toes and ears and so on. Also very contagious. You get isolated from humanity. Naaman's life was a paradox, very successful, commander in the army on top of his career, yet he will die soon from a horrible disease. Could you read verse 2 and 3, please?
Now bands of raiders from Aram had gone out and had taken captive a young girl from Israel, and she served Naaman's wife. She said to her mistress, "If only my master would see the prophet who is in Samaria, he would cure him of his leprosy."
There's a solution for his problem, a prophet in Israel healing people. So does this good news so who does this good news come from? An Israeli captive maid, a slave girl to Naaman's wife. She should be glad Naaman is dying. His soldiers stole her away from her family to a foreign people and sold or gave her to the wife of Naaman. We don't even know her name, but she was the gospel or good news messenger to the Naaman family. She demonstrated love to her enemies like Jesus told us to. Now the story goes the way of the world. Mrs. Naaman tells Naaman, go get a cured in Israel, the Holy Land. Naaman goes to his boss, the king. The king is pleased, a cure for his friend. Naaman's king sends Naaman to Israel's king with a letter to cure his man, also sends lots of silver and gold. The king of Israel is horrified. Cure leprosy? That's impossible. They are just looking for an excuse for war. Can you read verse 8 to 10, please?
Yeah, it says, when Elisha, the man of God, heard that the king of Israel had torn his robes, he sent him this message. Why have you torn your robes? Have the man come to me, and he will know that there is a prophet in Israel. So Naaman went with his horses and chariots and stopped at the door of Elisha's house. Elisha sent a messenger to say to him, go, wash yourself 7 times in the Jordan, and your flesh will be restored, and you will be cleansed.
Elisha the prophet hears about the problem. Naaman comes to be cured. Naaman is a prominent man who deserves to be served properly. Naaman goes to the door of the hut of Elisha. Elisha does not even come out to meet Naaman. Naaman has a serious problem and lots of prestige and money. That should attract good service from any prophet, but not from Elisha. He's a man of God. No theater or money stuff from him. Sent his servants with a message. Naaman has to do something, has to dip 7 times Jordan River. Naaman was furious. Could you read verse 11 and 12?
But Naaman went away angry and said, I thought that he would surely come out to me and stand and call on the name of the Lord his God, wave his hand over the spot and cure me of my leprosy. Are not Abana and Pharpar, the rivers of Damascus, better than all the waters of Israel? Couldn't I wash in them and be cleansed? So he turned and went off in a rage.
Naaman's servants begged Naaman to reconsider. Read 13 and 14, please.
Naaman's servants went to him and said, my father, if the prophet had told you to do some great thing, would you not have done it? How much more then when he tells you, wash and be cleansed? So he went down and dipped himself in the Jordan 7 times as the man of God had told him, and his flesh was restored and became clean like that of a young boy.
Naaman obeyed, was healed, was humbled, and was converted. Read verse 15, please.
Then Naaman and all his attendants went back to the man of God. He stood before him and said, "Now I know that there is no God in all the world except in Israel. So please accept a gift from your servant."
There is a God in Israel. Now, how can I pay you? Obedience was the answer, not money or ceremony. I really encourage everybody to read 2 Kings chapter 5 and Luke 4:27. Jesus loved this story, a true gospel story. I really loved it too. You'll find it really interesting.
Amen. Thanks a lot for this, Harry.
Thank you.